Hey miniature lovers, J-Star here, and today I'm going to make over these two factory-made chairs. I found these chairs on Amazon and I love the shape of them. They're a perfect little side chair, and they were only $20 for the pair, $10 each. The fabric I want to use is this black and white leopard, which was actually a pair of pants that I got at the thrift store. It's reversible, so I was trying to decide if I wanted to go white on black or black on white. I ended up going black on white. The first thing I do is pop off all the upholstered parts. Now, sometimes they're just lightly tacked with glue, and sometimes it's harder, so you might need a heat gun. Just be careful and gently pull them off. These chairs come painted a very bright white, so I wanted to change that because the background of the material is actually sort of an ivory color. So I sponged on some antique parchment craft paint, and you can see now the chair on the right matches the fabric, and the chair on the left is still bright white. So I got them both painted and set them aside to dry. Once I started to peel the fabric off of the upholstered pieces, I realized they had glued a lot of it on, and I wasn't able to remove the fabric from the foam pieces as I wanted. So I just decided to cut around it and leave those little bits of fabric. My new fabric is thick enough that it will cover the old fabric and it won't show through. Also, they had padded the bottom of the seat under the cushion, which made the cushion kind of push up, so I removed that padding completely. Then, using the old fabric as kind of a basis, I cut out pieces of my new fabric to get ready to upholster each piece. Normally, what I do is just run a bead of glue around the edge and then fold the pieces over carefully. Your present wrapping skills will come in handy here. Once I've got the fabric wrapped around each piece, I use these clips to help the fabric stay in place while it dries. Once they're dry, I glue the seat, the back, and the arm pieces back to back so that they are ready to put back on the chair. I did discover about halfway through putting my pieces together that using spray glue was a better way to do this particular upholstery. Normally I use regular glue, Aleene's tacky glue, but on a bunch of these, I ended up using spray glue and it worked really well. Now, one more little tip. To get rid of the frayed edges on the corners, sometimes they're poking out, I use a lighter to just singe them off or melt them. Depending on the fabric, you'll see how they react. Just be very careful with it. To glue the panels together, I use my Aleene's tacky glue. And all of these seams on the back and the arms, they are framed in wood, so you don't have to really worry about them being too perfect. So you can be pretty liberal with the glue, and you want this to hold together. And once again, once the panels are together, I either clip them together or I just put them under something heavy and weigh them down so that they will glue tightly all around. Now I have the panel that is the bottom of the seat, the bottom of the chair. It just gets glued to the wooden base there. And again, I clip it down to make sure that the glue is tight all the way around. Now it's time to put the back and the side arms into their places. And before I put any glue on, I do dry fit it. I just squeeze them in there very carefully just to make sure that they fit and I can adjust them or whatever. Then I put a very little bit of glue around the edges, and then I pop each piece into the chair frame. As I'm putting in these pieces, I use an awl or some sharp tweezers to help me fit those little corners in. Sometimes they poke out a little bit, and I really want it to be a flat seam on the outside. Now the chair is technically done, but now we're going to add a little bit of detail. To finish it off and make it look really professional, I'm going to use this embroidery floss and glue it right along the seam of the cushion just to finish that off. And I do want to find the best place to hide my join because the front and the back of this cushion are visible. It's going to be on the side. And then I just run a thin bead of glue along the edge of the cushion in that seam. And then I lay the embroidery thread right on top of it, and voila, your cushion is trimmed. I also use braided cord used for jewelry making to put like a colorful braided trim on, but plain old embroidery thread works just fine. And it comes in a myriad colors, so you can always match your fabric. The chair is looking great, but I have decided I am going to put the trim around all the panels. And I do it exactly like I added it to the cushion. I figure out my starting point, the best place to hide those joins, and I run a bead of glue around the edge and just gently push the cord into that little crevice. And my chairs are done. And you can see that black cord edge just really adds detail to the upholstery. And here's the before and after. Before it was that bright white, now it's that creamy ivory, and we've gotten rid of that sparkly satiny fabric that was, let's just say it, tacky. I am thrilled with how these turned out. I think they just look so beautiful. I wish I had them in real life. I love the fabric, the black and white leopard. I love the black trim and the cream color. Truth be told, I don't really have a spot for these yet in my house, but here they are in the living room of my tiny Chateau Etoile, so you can see what they look like with other furniture. And I have already ordered 2 more sets of these chairs. I want to do some bold colors and bold patterns on a couple sets that I'll put in my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. From the tiny Chateau Etoile, this is J-Star saying have a great day and keep making mini.